explain you the concept of capex. So the capex normally you do around the percentages that's allowed for the capex is about 2 to 3% on an average. But I don't know how much is your hotel is allowing. They don't allow anything. Huh? How much? Yeah, 2 to 3% or 2 to 5%, 2 to 4%. So the average allowed is 2 to 4%. That's normally at the moment now is becoming the industry trend. For operating hotels which are running already for quite some time, usually you allow 2 to 4%. But that is only for regular maintenance, regular replacements. So the regular replacements means your TV replacements based on the value, based on the age of the asset, based like carpet change because it's already 10 years old, the TV change because the technology is already old. Now the question is again this: maybe TV is working, but the technology is getting older. It looks ugly. So do you consider that change as a normal change, or you consider that as a renovation? So the capex is done two ways, right? Regular replacement and renovations. Renovations means you are upgrading the facilities. There is no percentage defined for that. It depends on the approval by the owners. There is no formula for that. But renovation means you are changing the facilities, upgrading the facilities from the existing one to a new one. Not a regular replacement, means same items. You are not buying the same item, you are buying a new item. But if let's say you are buying a new item just because the old one is damaged, so you are buying a new one, so you always buy the latest one, right? That's not an upgrade. The upgrade is the old one is still working, but you want to change it to a new one. Maybe you want to refurbish your rooms with a new wallpaper, even though the wallpaper is not that bad, but you are repositioning your hotel to a new market. You want to do a fancy wallpaper, so that's an upgrade. That's renovation. If the wallpaper is torn and you want to change it, that particular wallpaper is not available in the market, so you want to change it to some other color, right? That's a different thing. That's normal repairs or maintenance. So the capex normally you divide into two separate sections: regular and renovations. So the regular ones is about 2 to 4% of the revenue, right? So you can say, okay, if the room division is earning, so and normally is overall based on overall revenue. But for how you are going to allocate to individual departments then, correct? It's very difficult because some departments are not earning any money. Like rooms, administrative departments is administrative department, maintenance department, sales and marketing department. They don't earn anything. So for them to give revenue is, so they what we need to do is we need to ask them, okay, how much what was normal spending? So you can allocate the revenue, allocate the expenses based on their previous years, correct? Or their normal required minimum requirements. Because sales and marketing, what they will need, they may need a camera, they may need other new printer or new machinery, office equipments only, right? They don't have any other capex. Maintenance, on the other hand, need a lot of capex because they are doing a lot of repairs, correct? They may need tools, they may need equipment, they may need other repair and maintenance equipment. They are buying the whole new spare parts. There is a lot of repair, a lot of capital requirements from them. F&B, mostly they are doing revenue generating activities. So they want to buy a new bar, they want to buy a new table, new chair, new bar equipments, all those kind of things. Or the kitchens may want new equipments to cook the food in a new style. Or you want to, nowadays these LED tables are happening everywhere, so that in the night it look like a bar or look like a for some fancy stuff. Rooms department is need room amenities. They want to change the kettle in the room. They want to change the mini bar. They want to change the other beds, tables, chairs, mirrors, whatever they want to change. So there's normal capex requirement are there. But on an average, total allowed is 2 to 4%. That's all total. But if it's a new upgrades, then it's the renovation. Renovation is, there is no limit for that. It depends on the cash flow of the hotel. How much is the cash generated by the hotel in that particular month? We can allow only up to that money, right? Unless the owners are interested to spend more money by taking a loan from other banks or something. They want to spend more on the repositioning of the hotel, right? So that's how the capex is done. Now, what are the criterias? So which item? Because let's say you have a big wish list, correct? So let's say total your revenue is um, enough. No, $1 million is not enough. Let's make it 100 million dollars is enough. So now your revenue is, now let's say we allow 3%, correct? So it's a $3 million. $100 million revenue is too much. I don't think anybody is doing 100 million. 50 million is maybe reasonable. Okay, so 3% is $1.5 million that is available to spend on capex. Okay, so now let's say for example, room department is coming up and saying that I want to change the TV in the hotel, right? So that is they want to spend about $500,000 on the TVs or other equipments. Okay, so rooms department. Then you have F&B. F&B is mostly the lot. They normally want to spend a lot of money. Yeah, F&B guys, they are most creative guys. And then the other operating department, the poor guys, which they don't spend anything. We can ignore them also actually. I used to. This is the normal structure of the budget. I'm telling you, no? Now A&G is getting higher and higher because of IT, because of the security equipment, because mostly hotels are spending a lot of money on equipments, new security equipment, CCTV. They want to change the analog to digital CCTV. They want to, the server racks are all full, memory disks are all full because of the so much data. They want to change, upgrade those kind of things. So let's put up a bit more money there, because this is important for the security of the hotel. Otherwise, security manager will come to you and say, "Don't blame me if you don't have the CCTV recording." No? Then the financial control will, "Oh my God, what if there is a theft in the hotel? What I'm gonna do?" Sales and marketing guys are very poor. They also don't want to spend too much money, so don't give them enough. MNU again is the lot, because they are also coming and blackmailing. Don't blame me. Is this breakdown? If that breakdown,
What is MNE?
maintenance,
Maintenance.
maintenance and utilities. So maintenance and utilities is quite a big department, quite a big spender of capex in normally hotel. So I don't know what is the structure of your hotel looks like, but this is what is my experience says on a typical basis. The most is the F&B and admin maintenance, and then the comes with the rooms division, and then the other ones like A&G is on and off. Sometimes it has, sometimes it doesn't have. The sales and marketing and other operating department are very poor, very less spending the money. They don't have a lot of it. So now you have $3.3 million of wish list. So let's call it a wish list. So means these people are requesting for this much of money. So how are you going to justify or allow the capex or do capex when you are allowed only 1.5 million? So the request is $3.3 million, right? So now you need to prioritize, correct? Prioritize which one goes first, which one goes the last, which one we can cancel. So how you prioritize? What is on the top list, priority list? Huh? Security. Exactly. Fire, life, safety. So that the first priority is your fire and life safety things. So if they are related to fire and life safety, the threat of the property itself or the guest or the staff. So there's those comes the first. So those get the first priority in the budgeting, right? What is the second one? No, not F&B, huh? Just huh? M&U. Okay. So that one is also depends. For me, it's not a priority. M&U is not a priority. So let's put up in M&U for the maintenance, for the repairs and maintenance for the second side. Okay. What about the revenue generating items? Are you where you have two, right? You can categorize the capital expenditure into this separate thing like fire and life safety, maintenance, regular maintenance, revenue generating activities, cost saving activities, guest comfort, and then other administrative things. Anything else you can think of? Hmm? Software and data processing, that comes under administrative. But those are also important, right? So we can separate them out. Softwares and data processing. Because these ones are also unavoidable. So you can now categorize them into separate things. Avoidable and non-avoidable. So this is unavoidable. This is must. Correct? Software and data processing is also, you can separate into two parts. One is expiring, means licensed. Yeah, that's right. No, means license means like the window is expiring, so you have to buy a new Windows. So that's a new capex, right? Not the renewal of license. You cannot renew the license of Windows, but if the support of some account, some servers is down, so you need to buy a new one. So those ones are licensed and then normal ones. So the licensed one are unavoidable because you have no choice. If those goes off, the support is goes off, so your security is threat. Again, it comes under safety. So unavoidable. These are, the rest of them are avoidable. So the unavoidable ones get the priority because they are unavoidable. You cannot avoid those kind of expenses. Now, out of these unavoidables, the maintenance, is it unavoidable? Avoidable. Depends. It depends. Depends on the importance of that equipment, that particular equipment. If they have a spare, it's avoidable. If they don't have a spare, it's non-avoidable. So it will also get a priority. So, and then for me, the next one is the revenue generating activity. If there is anything, if there is anything like a new revenue opportunity, that should get the priority. The guest comfort activities, the guest comfort equipments, that also gets the priority because they are relating to the loyalty of the guest. But there has to be objectively proof that these items are going to improve the guest experience, right? Not just only the, like maybe you want to change the iPad check-in instead of normal computer. It's not going to change anything for the guest, right? It's just a dream. So there are like dream activities and required activities. So you can always separate out. So the first thing is 5 life safety things which are unavoidable. The second thing is the guest comfort. If it's proved, let's say you want to change the beds, the mattress is getting older or is getting uncomfortable for the guests, and you want to change them. Or the chairs, the F&B chairs are getting older and is not comfortable to sit on the cushions anymore. So you need to change them. And these are non-revenue generating, but these are important for the guest safety, guest comfort. So these come first, correct? Then you have the revenue generating activities. Which can give you a higher return. It depends on, now this is objective because to prove that how much money I am able to make out of this revenue generating activity, it depends on the how much you are able to prove. What is the ROI? So you have to calculate what is the return on your investment because you are spending some money. So if you are able to return more than your interest, if let's say you are taking the money on loan, right? Most of the time you don't have really the money, so you are taking the money on loan. So the return on investment should be very high. If let's say you can recover the investment in 3 months, 6 months, 1 year is the best investment you can do. If it's 2 years, still okay, you can do. If it's more than 3 years, then it becomes lower on the priority. So you need to calculate the ROI first of each and every extra revenue generating activity with some objective number. How that is going to increase the revenue, correct? And then the last thing is, after all those things, is the cost saving activity comes after this, because even though it can save the cost, That depends on how much is the cost saving, but it requires capital investment now. So you may want to say, okay, we can do it once we have the money, right? Otherwise, in the meantime, we maintain the cost. Then the last one is the other administrative and other things, which if you still have the budget left, then you can spend on those. If you don't have the budget left, don't spend. Then normally we say, okay, if they break, we will buy unbudgeted. Because there is something called unbudgeted expense also, right? This is only a plan at the moment to prove that, okay, for cash flow purposes. But if something really breaks, you don't have a choice. It's goes as unbudgeted. The only thing is you may have to have a higher scrutiny or higher approval procedures for those kind of expenses, but it's still doable. Right? So the plan is for the unavoidable things, guest comfort, revenue generating, cost saving, and then after that, the rest of the activities will follow after that. Okay? So that was your capex. There is no standard formula, a standard format for capex. You can use any format. Usually, you just need to mention some minimum things like the description, what you want to buy, how much quantity you want to buy, what is your expected price, and why you want to buy. So these are the minimum things, and then you can categorize them as mandatory, like unavoidable, fire life safety related, revenue generated related, so that the person who is reviewing the capex, they know which category they belong to. If it's fire life safety related activities, then they are more likely to get approved faster rather than other items. Okay? Any other question on capex? Nothing.
Clear now.
Clear now? Okay.